Have you ever walked into a room and had absolutely no idea you were breaking a rule? Now imagine doing that in Japan. Except nobody says a single word. No angry stares. No dramatic confrontation. No one chasing you down the street waving a rule book. Instead, you'll be greeted with the famous Japanese smile, the kind that politely says, "Welcome," while quietly thinking, "Oh, I really wish they wouldn't do that." What if I told you that one tiny habit you've practiced your entire life could instantly identify you as an inexperienced tourist in Japan? The funny part is that you probably wouldn't even realize it happened. In Japan, people often value harmony over confrontation, so instead of correcting you, they'll simply carry on, leaving you blissfully unaware that you've just committed a cultural blunder. But don't worry, this video isn't here to embarrass anyone. We've all made travel mistakes. Some of us have packed winter clothes for tropical weather, and some have confidently pushed a door that clearly said pull. Traveling is basically collecting funny stories with a passport. Here on Global Elegance Code, we believe true elegance isn't measured by expensive clothes, luxury hotels, or first-class tickets. Real elegance is knowing how to respect different cultures, carry yourself with confidence, and leave every place better than you found it. That's exactly what this channel is all about, discovering the world's most refined habits, timeless etiquette, and fascinating cultural secrets that help you become a more thoughtful, graceful, and globally aware person. Today, we're diving into 10 Western hygiene habits that secretly disgust many Japanese people. These aren't random rules made to confuse tourists. They're rooted in centuries of tradition, respect for shared spaces, and consideration for others. Once you understand the why, these customs become surprisingly logical and maybe even habits you'll want to adopt yourself. Make sure you stay until habit number 10, because it surprises not only first-time visitors but even people who've lived in Japan for years. If you enjoy learning about elegance, culture, travel etiquette, and the hidden habits of some of the world's most fascinating societies, you're in the right place. So take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Global Elegance Code, and join our growing community of curious minds who believe that the classiest thing anyone can wear is respect. Now, let's step into Japan carefully, politely, and preferably without our shoes on. 1. Walking inside with outdoor shoes. Imagine this for a second. Someone walks into your bedroom wearing muddy boots, strolls across your fluffy white rug, steps on your pillow, then casually asks, "So, what's for dinner?" You'd probably start questioning every life decision that brought this person into your home. Well, that's surprisingly close to how many Japanese people feel when someone walks indoors wearing outdoor shoes. In Japan, there's a very important space at the entrance of a home called the Jenkin. It isn't just a place to leave your shoes, it's the invisible border between the outside world and the clean, peaceful sanctuary of the home. Think of it as a customs checkpoint where dirt, dust, rainwater, and whatever mystery substance you stepped on outside are politely denied entry. The moment you enter, your shoes come off, then you step into clean indoor slippers. It's a habit children learn from a very young age, and after a while, it becomes completely automatic. But here's where many tourists accidentally unlock the oops achievement. They remember to remove their shoes, then proudly march into the bathroom wearing the same indoor slippers. Plot twist. Japanese homes often have a separate pair of toilet slippers that are meant to stay inside the bathroom. Why? Because the bathroom is considered its own hygiene zone. You wear the toilet slippers only while you're in there, then switch back to your regular indoor slippers when you leave. And yes, visitors sometimes forget. They walk out wearing the toilet slippers, happily giving the entire house a grand bathroom tour. Nobody says anything. Everyone notices. In many countries, shoes are part of the outfit. They're polished, fashionable, and sometimes cost more than the holiday itself. In Japan, however, they're basically portable dirt collectors. The lesson isn't really about footwear. It's about protecting a shared clean space and showing respect for the people who live there. Now, speaking of things leaving your body, 2. Blowing your nose loudly in public. Picture this. You're riding a packed train during the morning rush. It's completely silent. People are reading, scrolling through their phones, or peacefully staring into the distance. Then suddenly, hunk! Someone blows their nose with the enthusiasm of a marching band trumpet. Congratulations, you've just become the loudest person on the train. In Japan, blowing your nose loudly in public is generally considered impolite because it draws attention to yourself and can make people around you uncomfortable. If you have a runny nose, many people will quietly sniffle for a moment or excuse themselves to a restroom or a private area before blowing their nose properly. It may seem backwards to visitors, but it's based on consideration rather than discomfort with illness. The same rule applies during meetings, classrooms, restaurants, or other quiet public places. Blowing your nose at full volume in the middle of a meeting has about the same social impact as someone suddenly performing karaoke in a library. Nobody expects perfection if you're sick. They simply appreciate a little privacy and consideration. It's another reminder that in Japan, good manners often mean making as little disruption to everyone else as possible, and that's a lesson that travels well anywhere in the world. 3. Wearing too much perfume. Sumahara. Have you ever walked past someone and thought, wow, I can still smell them from 3 streets away? Congratulations, you've experienced what many people in Japan jokingly call Sumahara, short for smell harassment. Yes, that's actually a commonly used expression for situations where someone's strong scent becomes unpleasant for the people around them. Now, before anyone throws away their favorite perfume, this isn't about banning fragrances. It's about balance. Japan is famous for crowded trains, packed elevators, busy offices, and tiny restaurants where people often sit shoulder to shoulder. In those closed spaces, your perfume isn't just your perfume anymore, it's everybody's perfume. Imagine squeezing into a rush hour train, and instead of breathing fresh air, you suddenly feel like you've fallen face first into a department store fragrance counter. That's not exactly the peaceful morning commute anyone was hoping for. In Japan, subtle scents are appreciated because they respect the people sharing the same air. A light fragrance can be pleasant, but wearing enough cologne to announce your arrival 5 minutes early, that's a different story. Here's a simple rule of thumb. If your perfume enters the train before you do, you've already lost. True elegance isn't about making everyone notice you. Sometimes it's about making everyone comfortable around you. In Japan, the most sophisticated fragrance is often the one people barely notice at all. And speaking of things that deserve your full attention. 4. Eating while walking. Tabearuki. Picture this. You're walking down the street, coffee in one hand, burger in the other, checking your phone, trying not to trip over the curb, while somehow convincing yourself this is called multitasking. In many countries, that's just another Tuesday. In Japan, not so much. There's even a word for eating while walking, tabearuki. Although it's not illegal, many people avoid it because eating is seen as an activity that deserves a little more care and respect. Stopping to enjoy your meal helps keep public spaces cleaner, reduces the chance of dropping food, and makes it easier to dispose of trash properly. Since public trash bins are relatively uncommon, nobody wants to leave crumbs or wrappers behind for someone else to deal with. There's also something wonderfully calming about it. Instead of racing down the street with noodles performing Olympic gymnastics, people often pause, eat, appreciate the food, and then continue on their way. Of course, there are exceptions. During festivals, street markets, and certain food stalls, walking a short distance while enjoying a snack is perfectly normal because the environment is designed for it. But in everyday life, the custom is different. As the Japanese saying goes, well, maybe not an actual saying, but it should be food deserves your full attention. Your sandwich shouldn't be commuting. Sometimes the most elegant meal isn't the fastest one, it's the one you slow down long enough to truly enjoy. 5. Washing inside the bathtub. Let's settle a question that has confused countless first-time visitors to Japan. You step into a beautiful Japanese bathroom, see a sparkling bathtub filled with warm water, and naturally think, great, time to jump in and start scrubbing. Hold that loofah! In Japan, that's not how the bathtub works. The proper routine is to wash and rinse your entire body first using the shower area. Only after you're completely clean do you step into the bathtub. Why? Because the bath isn't primarily for getting clean, it's for relaxing. Think of it as your reward after you've already finished the hard work. In many Japanese homes, the same bathwater may be shared by family members, with each person bathing only after washing thoroughly beforehand. The goal is to keep the water clean so everyone can enjoy a peaceful soak. The same principle applies when visiting an onsen, Japan's famous hot spring baths. Before entering the communal bath, guests are expected to wash themselves completely. It's one of the most important etiquette rules, and following it shows consideration for everyone sharing the space. Here's an easy way to remember it. Think of the bath as dessert. You don't wash your vegetables after serving dessert. Once you understand that simple idea, everything suddenly makes perfect sense. And trust me, you'll enjoy the experience much more when you're soaking in crystal clear water instead of wondering whether someone else skipped a shower. Now, let's move to the room in Japan that's packed with more technology than some people's first apartment. 6. Using only toilet paper. If you've never used a Japanese toilet before, prepare yourself. You walk in expecting, well, a toilet. Instead, you're greeted by a futuristic control panel with enough buttons to make you wonder if you've accidentally entered the cockpit of a spaceship. Welcome to the wonderful world of the washlet. In Japan, many toilets include built-in bidet functions that gently clean with warm water before you use a small amount of toilet paper to dry off. For many people, this simply feels cleaner and more comfortable than relying on toilet paper alone. These toilets often include heated seats, adjustable water pressure, temperature controls, and even sound masking features designed to provide extra privacy. It's comfort meeting cleanliness in the most unexpected place. There's also an environmental advantage. Because water does much of the cleaning, many people end up using less toilet paper, helping reduce waste over time. It's no surprise that countless visitors return home asking the same question: how did I survive all these years without a heated toilet seat? After experiencing one, your bathroom standards may never be the same. Just don't be surprised if your toilet back home suddenly feels a little less impressive. 7. Using your personal chopsticks for shared food. Jikobashi. Picture this. You're sitting around a table filled with delicious Japanese dishes. Everyone is smiling. The food looks incredible, and you're ready to dive in. Without thinking, you grab a piece of sushi from the shared platter using the same chopsticks you've already been eating with. To you, it feels completely normal. To many people in Japan, it feels a little awkward. This custom is known as jikobashi, using your personal chopsticks to take food directly from a communal dish. While practices vary between families and casual meals, it's generally considered more polite to use serving chopsticks or dedicated serving utensils when they're provided. Why? It all comes down to hygiene and consideration. Once your chopsticks have been in your mouth, using them in a shared plate means everyone else is now sharing more than just dinner. A simple serving utensil keeps the meal cleaner and makes everyone feel more comfortable. It's not about being overly strict. It's about making sure every guest enjoys the meal with confidence. Think of it this way. Using your own chopsticks in a shared dish is a bit like drinking from the punch bowl using your own straw. Technically, everyone still gets the drink, but suddenly, nobody's quite as thirsty anymore. Good table manners in Japan aren't about showing off perfect etiquette. They're about quietly making the dining experience pleasant for everyone around you. And speaking of keeping things clean, 8. Touching everything without sanitizing your hands. This next habit became a global talking point after COVID, but in Japan, the mindset existed long before anyone had heard of lockdowns or social distancing. Walk through Japan and you'll notice something interesting. People often return home, take off their shoes, and head straight to the sink before doing almost anything else. Not to check their phones, not to grab a snack, to wash their hands. Many people also carry small bottles of hand sanitizer in their bags and clean their hands before eating, especially after using public transportation or touching shared surfaces like elevator buttons, train straps, and door handles. It's not because they think the world is dangerously dirty. It's because they recognize that public spaces belong to everyone, and good hygiene is a simple way of showing respect to the next person. Here's a funny image to remember. Some Japanese people seem so committed to clean hands that they'll wash them before greeting the family dog. The dog may not notice, but everyone else certainly appreciates the habit. It's another reminder that cleanliness in Japan isn't driven by fear, it's driven by consideration. But clean hands alone aren't enough. Because if something else you're carrying isn't clean, the story changes completely. 9. Carrying a dirty towel or handkerchief all day. Now we've reached a habit that surprises nearly every visitor. Imagine washing your hands until they're sparkling clean, then drying them on a towel that's been riding around in your pocket since breakfast, survived the train ride, visited 3 cafes, and somehow ended up at the bottom of your backpack beside a handful of loose coins. Not exactly the grand finale your clean hands were hoping for. In Japan, it's very common for people to carry a small, clean hand towel or handkerchief. Since many public restrooms don't provide paper towels or hand dryers, bringing your own towel is seen as a simple act of personal responsibility and good preparation. But here's the important part. That towel is expected to be clean. Many people replace it daily, just like changing into fresh socks or a clean shirt. A clean towel helps you dry your hands comfortably without depending on public facilities, while also maintaining good hygiene. It's one of those tiny habits that quietly says, I take responsibility for myself, and I don't expect others to clean up after me. And honestly, that's a pretty elegant mindset. Here's the funny part. Your tiny towel may have a busier schedule than most people. It goes to work, rides the train, visits restaurants, travels through shopping malls, and somehow still manages to look neat and presentable. Not bad for something that fits in your pocket. And now, we've arrived at the final habit, the one that says more about Japanese culture than almost anything else on this list. 10. Coughing or sneezing without wearing a mask or covering properly. Picture a quiet train during rush hour. Everyone is minding their own business. Then someone lets out a gigantic sneeze worthy of an action movie without covering their mouth. Suddenly, half the carriage starts leaning away like synchronized dancers. In Japan, if you're feeling sick, it's common to wear a face mask when you're out in public. Long before it became a global conversation, many people wore masks as a simple courtesy to reduce the chance of spreading illness to others. If a mask isn't available, covering your cough or sneeze properly with your elbow or a tissue is considered basic good manners. The idea is simple. Protect the people around you. In Japan, wearing a mask while you're sick isn't considered strange. Showing up sick and spraying everyone with your sneezes. The biggest lesson from this entire video isn't really about shoes, towels, chopsticks, or even fancy toilets. It's about consideration. Every one of these habits reflects the same quiet message. How can I make life a little more comfortable for the people around me? It's not fear. It's not perfection. It's respect. And perhaps that's the cleanest habit of all. So, there you have it, 10 everyday hygiene habits that might seem completely normal in many Western countries but can quietly raise eyebrows in Japan. And here's the funny thing. Not one of these habits is about being rich, fancy, or trying to impress people. Nobody in Japan is walking around with a clipboard handing out scores for shoe removal or perfume levels. There isn't a secret hygiene Olympics where the gold medal goes to the person with the cleanest slippers. The real lesson is much simpler and much more powerful. It's respect. Japanese cleanliness isn't driven by obsession. It's driven by consideration. Every small habit asks one thoughtful question. How can I make life a little easier and more comfortable for everyone around me? That's why shoes stay at the door. That's why perfume stays subtle. That's why people wash before entering the bath, carry clean hand towels, and think twice before doing anything that might inconvenience someone else. After spending time in Japan, something surprising happens. These customs stop feeling like strict rules and start feeling oddly satisfying. You may even catch yourself taking off your shoes the moment you get home, quietly looking around for indoor slippers, and wondering why your bathroom doesn't have a heated toilet seat. Don't worry, it happens to the best of us. The biggest culture shock isn't discovering that Japan is different. The biggest surprise is realizing that some of these simple habits actually make everyday life feel calmer, cleaner, and a little more peaceful. So, if you're planning a trip to Japan, don't stress about being perfect. Nobody expects perfection. Just arrive with curiosity, an open mind, and a willingness to learn. That's the kind of traveler every country appreciates. Now it's your turn. Which of these 10 habits shocked you the most? Have you ever made a hilarious cultural mistake while traveling that still makes you laugh today? Share your story in the comments. I genuinely love reading them, and your experience might help another traveler avoid the same mistake. If you enjoyed this journey into Japanese culture, elegant living, and the hidden etiquette that makes everyday life so fascinating, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Global Elegance Code, and join our growing community as we uncover timeless habits, refined lifestyles, and remarkable traditions from around the world. Until next time, travel with curiosity, live with elegance, treat others with respect, and please leave your shoes at the door. See you in the next video.